27. Duties done. Hugh, Drew, Lou and Sue all promised their mother they would regularly write and let her know how they were getting on during their round-the-world trip. Hugh wrote his letters, but gave them to other people to post, none of whom bothered, so his mother never received any letters from him. Drew wrote her letters and posted them herself, but she carelessly put them in disused boxes, attached too few stamps, and made other mistakes which meant none of them ever arrived. Lou wrote and posted all her letters properly, but the postal system let her down every time. Mother didn't hear from her. Sue wrote and posted all her letters properly, and made brief phone calls to check they had arrived. Alas, none did. Did any of the children keep their promise to their mother? Source: The Moral Philosophy of H. A. Pritchard, as critiqued by Mary Warnock in What Philosophers Think, edited by J. Begini and J. Stangroom, Continuum 2003. A pressing ethical conundrum indeed. Such were the kinds of issues discussed for much of the 20th century in British moral philosophy, before the radicalisation of the late 1960s brought a belated focus on issues of war, poverty and animal rights. However, it would be foolish to dismiss problems like this out of hand. The context may be mundane, but the issue in moral theory it addresses is important. Do not be misled by the genteel scenario. The question is, at what point can we say we have discharged our moral responsibilities? It applies not only to sending news to parents, but to cancelling orders for nuclear attack. The issue at stake is whether we can be said to have fulfilled our duty if the consequence we intend for our action does not come about. In general, it would seem to be too harsh a rule to say that the answer is always no. Sue did everything she could to ensure her letters got home, yet still they did not. How can she be responsible for that failure when it was not in her power to do any more? That is why we don't hold people responsible for failures if they did the best they could. However, that does not mean that we excuse people when they make an insufficient effort. Both Hugh and Drew seem not to have paid enough attention to their correspondence duties. Both could reasonably be said to have not fulfilled their promises. Lou is the most interesting case, since she could have done more to ensure the news was getting there, but at the same time she seems to have done all that could reasonably be expected. The idea of what is reasonable to expect is crucial here. If we were talking about an order to cancel a nuclear attack, then our expectation of the checks and extra measures that should be taken would be much higher. The extent to which we are required to make sure the desired outcome actually happens thus varies according to the seriousness of the outcome. It's okay to just forget to set the video recorder. Just forgetting to call off the troops is inexcusable. The problem of the holiday letter touches on one of the most fundamental issues in moral philosophy: the link between agents, actions, and their consequences. What this thought experiment suggests is that ethical reasoning cannot focus on just one of these aspects. If ethics is all about consequences, then we have the absurdity that even someone like Sue, who does all she can, still does wrong if her actions do not turn out right. If ethics does not concern itself with consequences at all, however, we have a different absurdity, for how can it not matter what actually happens as the result of our actions? If the specific letter-posting problem is itself trivial, the issues it touches on certainly are not.